Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Bearkat Countdown here at Bearkat Alley at Bowers Stadium at Sam Houston State University. I'm your host, Kylan Lawrence, and with me today at my left, I have Carlos, Christian here, and Collin here. Today, we're going to be talking about our last two games that we played these past 2 weeks, Jacksonville and Tarleton. We've got some homecoming things we're going to mention to you guys, some alumni. We've got our game predictions and scores and players to watch and pay attention to at today's game. So, Carlos, talk to me about the last two games that we've played, Jacksonville and Tarleton. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, they were just two well-played games by the Bearkats. You know, beating Jacksonville State 42-7, a team that, entering the season, guys, it was projected to be, the toughest game of the season. But it ended up not being that way, and the Bearkats showed it, but just the way they ran the ball. You see Ramon Jefferson running it right there, and Eric Schmidt just kind of returning to form after a couple of bad weeks, making plays when he needed to and finding his guys, and you couldn't ask for much better out of them. Eric Schmidt, back-to-back great weeks for him and everything like that. And then, looking at Tarleton, too, I mean, it was a little bit of a tougher game. I mean, the Bearkats, they gave up 27 points, but they put up 40-plus points for a third straight week dating back to Lamar. So for the Bearkats, it worked out really well to have two critical wins, one at home and one on the road, and the really sound football. I mean, Eric Schmidt, I'm going to keep talking about it. Threw for 5 touchdowns against the Texans, ran in for one. And Christian, I'm going to turn it to you now. Just talk to me about how just important it was to have these two critical wins coming back home for the final two home games of the season.
Yeah, for Sam Houston, it was real important. I mean, from the second and third quarter, they had 31 unanswered points against Tarleton. That made a big difference during the game, and they had great plays, great defense, took it home for them.
Yeah, touch back on the Jacksonville State game. Like you said, Carlos, it was supposed to be that pivotal moment in that pivotal game in the season, and it just ended up not being. As it, final score of 42-7. Jacksonville State came out right out the gate and scored that one touchdown, and that was it. You would think that they would have something else, but the Bearkats are really on a roll right now.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. With the Bearkats, going on these last couple of games that they win, I feel like the Bearkats, they're at a point right now where they're doing great for themselves, but they also still have to keep that in mind. And, coming out here today playing Dixie State, they still have to keep up their game. They can't let anything slip. So going next in, we've had a couple of weeks. 2 weeks ago was our homecoming. Carlos, talk about a little bit of homecoming the last 2 weeks, everything that was going on.
Well, I mean, it was a wonderful time just, have the alumni come out and have a great time and everything, enjoying the game. The crowd was here. They were packed. Our own PJ Hessner actually was able to go to the alumni gala earlier that week, so we'll throw it to that now to PJ.
Happy game day, Bearkats. I'm your host for this edition of Cat on the Street. Today we'll be talking to some distinguished alumni about why it's still so great to be a Bearkat. Because after all, once a Bearkat, always a Bearkat.
The 48th Annual Distinguished Alumni Gala was a chance for notable SHSU alumni to reconnect, as well as share why they still love SHSU.
Hey, Rick Hanna, past president of the Sam Houston Alumni Association, still involved because Bearkats are so much fun to be around.
My name is Scott Mccarley. I'm president of the Sam Houston State University Alumni Association. I've made so many connections over the years that I would have never made if I had not been at Sam Houston.
Casey Keeler, head football coach, Sam Houston State. Homecoming is always such a big event because, students come back and alums come back from all over the country. They get a chance to reconnect with, hallmates and classmates.
In search of a different and nonetheless distinguished alumni crowd, I ditched the high heels for some cowboy boots, a more appropriate attire for the Jolly Fox, an iconic stomping ground for SHSU students, and especially on this homecoming night, SHSU alumni.
My name's Kevin Moore. I played football here from 1998 to 2001. Bubba Thompson, Benji, Cody Widener. We all played football. We love the Bearkats. We're going to beat them because we're national champions. and that's pretty much it.
Always good stuff to hear from our good friend PJ Hessner. Always good stuff from her.
Well, going from that, we're moving on into talking about our standings in the WAC conference. You know, the Sam Houston State just announced that they're joining the USA Conference. They announced their decision Friday. So, Collin, talk about what you think this means for the Sam Houston Bearcats.
I'm very excited that we got that bid. This means they're the 13th school in Texas to go FBS, and I've felt for a long time that Sam Houston has deserved this, this recognition. We've been kind of there at the top of FCS for a while now, and to finally get that recognition to go Conference USA. You've had Rice that has been Conference USA, that's been FBS, and really Rice, the only thing they have going for them is the baseball team. The baseball has held that athletic program for a very long time. Well, with the Bearcats, you get, not only do you get baseball, you get football, basketball, women's and men's. So to finally get that FBS recognition this means a lot for this program and this school as a whole.
Mm-hmm. Christian, what are your thoughts?
It's really great for the Bearcats. They finally got the invitation, and they're good to go. And it means a lot for all the sports, like Collin said. It means a lot for all the sports, and it means a big part as they join tougher teams and they improve as they go for other sports.
Mm-hmm. You know, the Bearcats, I feel like this is a great chance for them to play at a higher level. You know, they'll be joining teams like New Mexico State, Liberty University, Jacksonville State. So roughly around July 1st in the next couple years is when they'll join that team. But looking right now, we have looking at our standings and everything, the Bearcats are roughly 8-0 at the time right now. Playing Dixie State today, they are 0-8. Looking at the also standings, we have Eastern Kentucky at 3-0 in the WAC conference, but overall they are roughly 6-2. Central Arkansas in the conference is 3-2, but overall 4-4. Jacksonville State is at 1-2 in the conference, but overall roughly 3-5. You've got SFA and Abilene Christian 1-2 and 1-3. Right, thank you, Carlos. Thank you very much. So talk about these standings and I want y'all to talk about just the standings and what y'all think is going on throughout the day today.
Well, I think, this has got the Bearcats in a great position to take that AQ7. It's already a unique kind of thing that they've done this year because the WAC and ASUN could not field full football conferences. So I think this has been great for the Bearcats. I'm looking at that Eastern Kentucky game that's coming up next week. It's looming very large now. Eastern Kentucky just got into the FCS Stats Perform Top 25 a couple of weeks ago. It's going to be key. That's going to be we said Jacksonville State's going to be the key game. Nah, it's their counterparts in Eastern Kentucky. That's going to be a very key game. I do want to go back again and touch on the Conference USA thing. The move is it's July 1st, 2023, but the Bearcats, after the 2021 FCS playoffs, they're going to start that transition to FBS. So they haven't announced yet what the idea is going to be for next fall, and they'll be playing FBS football, but we'll see when it's come. I had the pleasure of being in the press conference yesterday with Athletic Director Bobby Williams and with President Dr. Alyssa White. They're very optimistic about what is to come. There's a lot of changes that are definitely in form going forward, but it'll be very interesting to see. But looking at this season right now, Cats are looking good.
Talking about today, Sam Houston versus Dixie State. Sam Houston, they're 8-0. Dixie State is 0-8. Specific people to watch for today's game on the Bearcat side is Ramon Jefferson. He's roughly 7 touchdowns, 755 yards. So he's he's a player to be reckoned with. He's getting up there. He's getting his stats and everything like that. I had the pleasure to talk to Ramon Jefferson this week just about what it means to him, how he's done over the past couple of seasons. So we'll throw that to you now.
When you watch film, it's always something that you could have did more, or less. So I'm actually always proud of myself and the plays that I make, but I do realize there's room for improvement every single week. So having a game like that is a good feeling, but you know that you can do better. But I feel like now it's like, since we've been together, the expectations are definitely higher. And the expectation to win, obviously, each week and give it your best is also higher. So when you business focus, it's fun. You know, like when you know what you got to do, what's expected of you, and you know that you could do it each week, it's fun because now it's like you get to enjoy your teammates, you get to being around everybody.
What a great interview talking to Ramon Jefferson. You know, having and you know to interview him the other day, a couple of days ago, was really, really great. Carlos, Christian, Collin, if you had the chance to watch Ramon Jefferson, what is something like in specific that you like about him that he's doing these past season?
You know, he's been just unbelievable. Top 10 in rushing amongst, you know, running backs in the state of Texas at the collegiate level, at any collegiate level. That's just how good he's been this year. You know, when he's healthy, he's had a couple injuries he's had to deal with. He didn't play much against Lamar. That's why it allowed Noah Smith to shine. And that's a testament to, you know, how this running back core that Sam Houston's got. Ramon Jefferson, Noah Smith, Zach Urbachik, Weston Stevens, Kyron Jackson, who's been here for a long time. It's an incredible crew, but with Ramon, he's obviously a key factor today against a defensive line for Dixie State that's not necessarily done very well defending the run.
Yeah.
More about Ramon Jefferson. He had 5 over 100 touchdowns over 5 games, and right now he's going for 6 for this one today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I actually had the pleasure to meet Ramon when he first moved to over here to Sam Houston. I had a class with him, and I could tell right then and there, this guy he's poised. I see how he is in the classroom. Great guy. Let's see how he is on the field. He has transformed that to the field. I mean, you go out there and you're expecting 100 yards every game with at least one score from the guy. If you don't get that, you're going to get a hard-working young man.
Mm-hmm. And moving on, on Tuesday we had our press conference for our media day interviews. But we'll talk about that a little bit down the road later. You know, Dixie State, you know, their record doesn't show how they play. You know, it may show that they're 0-8, but they're a hard playing team. You know, they get out there, they do their job, and unfortunately their record just doesn't show that, which has been a lot of talk about that lately.
I mean, the thing for Dixie State is this team has had the roughest go on their strength of schedule. They've played 6 ranked opponents this season. Montana, who's been a top 10 team this year. South Dakota State, the runner-up in the FCS National Championship. I mean, they had to play Stephen F. Austin. The closest game they had was their last time out against Delaware, and they kept Delaware to a 7-point win, 17-10, you know, Coach Keeler's old team. So expect Dixie, you know, to play with some fight today. They have had a rough go this year with their schedule, and so don't let that record fool you. That this is a well put together team. They have a pair of quarterbacks that have gotten a good brunt of the reps this season so far. So expect Dixie State to still, you know, fight, even though they're playing the number 1 team in the nation.
Christian, what are your thoughts on Dixie State and Sam Houston playing today? And even though Dixie State's record doesn't show how well they are, what do you think? What do you think Sam Houston is going to be dealing with today?
Well, today they're going to be dealing with a really young team that has a lot of adrenaline, have a lot of talent. But they're real young, but Sam Houston has a lot of experience, and I feel like they'll be able to pull it through with Dixie State, and it'll be an interesting game to watch today.
Yeah, I was watching an interview on Coach Keeler earlier this week, and he was talking about he knows a couple people on that Delaware staff that Dixie State played last week. And he said they're a bunch of scrappy guys. Like we've talked about, that 0-8 record doesn't really show their competitiveness. They're a competitive team. If the Bearcats think that it's a walk in the park today, they might be in trouble.
You know, there's a couple key factors that's going to go into today's game as well. I got a report maybe about a half hour ago. Jaquez Ezard is not going to play today. He is out for this game. So you got it. Now it's next man up. You go Ife Adey, Brennan Tibbs, Cody Kress. They're going to be the guys that are going to be really the weapons for Eric Schmidt today. Mm-hmm. So, you know, And, if the game starts to become a blowout a bit, you're going to see some of the backups come in. Keegan Shoemaker will obviously probably take over. Trapper Panel, you'll see for a few snaps or something. The defense just needs to also stay stiff today as well. I mean, you can't pick one guy out of this defense for Sam Houston. That's been the testament over these last few weeks. Yeah, they gave up 27 points to Tarleton, but look at before that. A touchdown to Lamar and a touchdown to Jacksonville State. Think about that.
Yeah, 100%, Carlos. I agree with you. But as we said earlier, we had our press conference on Tuesday and the media day interviews talking to Coach Keeler and a couple other players for you there. So we'll throw that to you now to take a look at.
Those accomplishments for Coach Keeler. So I'm curious, from a player's perspective, what makes him so successful and effective as a head coach?
What makes him so successful is he repeats the same things over and over again. And when he repeats it, it's actually true. Some coaches, they might say it one time and just forget about it, but he's one of those coaches that repeats what he needs to say. If you need to hear it, he's going to repeat it. And that's the thing about that. Like when you repeat something repetitive, you hear it over and over again, and it just gets stuck in your head. So when he keeps repeating it, we just keep it to ourselves and keep it to our head. Like, yeah, he's telling us, like, take care of our bodies, take care of this, take care of that, take care, everything on the field, off the field. And when he keeps repeating that, it just gets stuck in your head and just so easy to, absorb it and just keep it with you. So that's what makes him so successful is he keeps everything the same. He doesn't change anything. He keeps it consistent. He's a consistent coach.
Looking at Dixie State's record over the season, what are some challenges on Saturday do you think that'll come up for you guys?
Some challenges that I know from this team is they do not play like their record stands. They're a team that's going to play on fire. Their hair's going to be on fire. They're going to come ready to go. They don't care about their record. They know that their goal is to get better. As you know, this is their second year playing a Division I football. So they're on the road of getting better. So this is their year to, get better. And this is their year to, come with their game, come fire.
What does it mean to you now that you've had a few days to kind of think about it, to have a team win 17 games in a calendar year? Yeah, we were just talking about that. I'm like an open book with our team. We talk about everything that's happening, and then it's funny. I'm watching the Cincinnati and Tulane game, and they're making a point that Fickle does not talk about like the playoff picture. I do, and then it's like, okay, put that away. We're going here. But I told the players, I said, to be part of college football history, that will never get broken again unless there's another pandemic, and they decide to play in the spring again. But to win 17 games in a calendar year, and it's never been done before in the history of college football, and probably will never be done again. You're part of something that is really unique and it's part of history. That's pretty cool. And it's a testament to the players we have. We have just so many great players. It's so unusual when you have one of the best teams you've ever coached, and every single player that played a lot of football for you came back. This has been a really neat experience, kind of going through this journey with them.
You talked about the team clicking right now. Just wanted to ask you, I mean, these guys, it seems like they're just having fun, and just talk a little bit more about that. And Noah Smith, I like what he said a few weeks ago. He said that practice was like recess for him. Just talk a little bit more about that and just how much fun these guys are having right now.
I love Noah. It's such a great group, and the chemistry so strong. I often I thank God that my best team I could bring back, and not only one of my best teams in terms of just talent, but just the people they are and the way they get along. And when we end practice with field goal extra point, and I always wait till we make the last one, and then I holler touch somebody, and then I just sit there and just kind of hang out and just watch all the guys. And I mean, if I let them go, they would go 15, 20 minutes just talking to each other. And it's like, okay, I got to get you out of class, blow the whistle. Let's, listen to what coach has to say before I send you off. But just, it's so cool for me after every practice, just watching them all interact the way they do. And it's really a close family. It really is. And the things that we went through in the spring, not having the locker room in the pandemic, and, losing a couple coaches, and, all those things, having to do your own laundry, carrying your equipment all that stuff I think has brought us even closer together. And so that's why, it's just such a ball for me being out there with those guys. I mean, it's a special group. It really is. And again, to have them all back for a second year is amazing.
We hope you enjoyed watching that media day and the press conference, getting to hear what the coaches and players have to say about everything. So moving on to game predictions for today. Carlos, what do you got for me?
Well, since we have a little bit of extra time to do it for you today, let's take a look at some of these key FCS games, especially FBS games, especially games in the top 25. Taking a look first at the number 1 team in the nation, Georgia, taking on Mizzou today. Missouri, but they're in Athens, Georgia. Collin, what you got? Tigers, or you got the number 1 team in the nation?
I'm going to have to go to the Bulldogs. The Tigers they haven't been able to catch their stride for a long time in the SEC. I think Georgia's got this one pretty much in the bag today.
Christian?
Today I see the Bulldogs taking it all the way. Even though there will be a way, I feel like they got it in the hand.
Yeah, I agree. I got to go with the Bulldogs, too. They've got a really good thing going on right now. And the Tigers, they just haven't had the best luck recently. But, who knows? Maybe today will be turned around for the Tigers. But I'm still going to have to go for the Bulldogs.
And if that were to happen, the College Football Committee just released the playoffs. If that were to happen today, it'd throw a whole wrench into what is going to come up with this season starting to wind down. Another key game today with our friends out Highway 30 West in College Station. Auburn, number 13 team in the nation, taking on the number 14 Texas A&M Aggies. Kylan, this is, a key game for both of them in terms of the playoff. What you got?
I feel like that's, for me personally, a tough decision, but I think I'm going to have to go with the Aggies. I feel like what they've done recently has been, it's been a pretty good for them lately, especially that high that they got off of, beating Alabama. That was crazy a couple of weeks ago. So I'm going to have to go with Aggies on that one. Carlos?
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with Kylan here. I'm going to have to go with the Aggies for today. They have a lot of they've been going well against major teams, and I feel like the Aggies can pull it off today.
I can't go against my Aggies.
Oh, I know you can.
Gig 'em. It's going to be a close one. It's going to be a dogfight, but gig 'em.
Got a rivalry game in Lexington today. The number 18 Kentucky Wildcats taking on Tennessee. Battle for the Governor's Cup today. Collin, it's going to be a close one. Tennessee's 4-4, Kentucky's 6-2. What you got?
That's going to be a really good SEC matchup today. It's Kentucky, Tennessee, so it's going to be kind of under the table. But that might be the best game we see today in the SEC outside of Alabama, LSU, and A&M, Auburn. It's going to be a close one, but I got Kentucky.
Christian?
Yeah, I'll have to go with Tennessee for today. I feel like they could take it home, and I got to go with them.
Okay. Kylan?
I'm going to have to go with Tennessee, too. I'm going to have to agree with Christian. I feel like Tennessee, they've got some things up their sleeve. I feel like they're ready to let them be known today.
Well, and the thing for Tennessee they got going for them, they're 1-point favorites today over the Wildcats. So it's really going to be the most even matchup. The last FBS game we'll take a look at is the one you mentioned, Collin. LSU taking on the number 2 team in the nation, Alabama. They're in Tuscaloosa. Very tough atmosphere to play in. Kylan, it's the Tigers against the Crimson Tide.
Ooh, as you said, Carlos, that's going to be a very tough one. But if I'm going to have to go, with I don't know actually. That one to me has got me a little shaken. I feel like it could. In my personal opinion, I like to look at teams as a whole, not exactly stats and numbers. And I feel like both teams have the chance to pull something out today.
Yeah, I have to go with Alabama today. I feel like they have it in the bag. I mean, they have a lot of energy going into everything, and I got to go with Alabama today.
I'm going to go Tigers on this one.
Okay.
I'm going to go Tigers on this one because what's funny is the college football playoff will have a cow if Alabama loses today. That makes them a 2-loss team. Do you leave them in the playoffs or do you get them out? But Alabama will always sell. That's the thing.
Well,
but go Tigers.
The thing is, the College Football Playoff Committee has never let a 2-loss team make the top 4. So if that were to happen, I think there would be some rumblings.
Slides in. If Alabama loses today, you got to slide Cincinnati in.
So taking a look at the WAC-A Sun today, some games, key games going on today in concurrence with Dixie State and Sam Houston. Abilene Christian is in Jacksonville taking on the Gamecocks. Jacksonville State's 8.5-point favorites. Collin, who you got?
I don't know. I think I'm going to go with the upset today. Abilene Christian. I think it's going to be a close one, a nail biter, but I think Abilene will take that one today.
Christian.
That's a great call, and I got Abilene today. I feel like they've been having some good games in the past couple of games, and I feel like they could be able to take it today.
I'm going to have to agree. Abilene, they've gotten pretty good. They have a really good season going on with them. But also, I feel like everyone appreciates like an underdog moment. So who knows, maybe Jacksonville, maybe today's their day. You never know.
Looking at some of these other games, really the game to watch in the AQ7, it's Eastern Kentucky against Stephen F. Austin in Nacogdoches. It's going to be, I think it obviously has a chance to be the game of the day in the AQ7. Collin, what do you think? Colonels, or you going with our heated rivals in the Lumberjacks?
Excuse me, Bearcat fans out there, but Axland today. I think SFA has something to prove after a really tough loss in the Battle of Piney Woods earlier this year. And ever since that game, SFA has tried to find their stride again. I think they find it again, Eastern Kentucky again today. I have the Jacks by a touchdown.
I think I got SFA today, mostly because they're at home and they've been having some great games in the past couple of days, and I got SFA today.
Yeah, I agree there too with that home field advantage. And as Collin said, trying to build up after that Piney Woods loss. And I feel like SFA, they're really going to, I feel like they're going to have the chance and an opportunity to take the win today after that big loss. And like we said, having a home field advantage, I feel like they're not going to leave anything to chance.
A couple key games to look at before we go to the game at hand today, Dixie State, Sam Houston. A big one in the Big Sky. Montana State 7-1 taking on Eastern Washington 7-1. Both teams top 10 in the FCS stats performing. Kylan, I'll start with you. This is a key game for both of these teams in terms of whoever comes out of this game today is going to lock up a seed for the FCS playoffs. So do you got Bobcats or the Eagles?
Well, Carlos, I think I'm going to have to go with probably I'm going to go with the Eagles, and I feel like there's just a lot of opportunity here today. And as you said, it's one of the key games. And I feel like, even with both teams, I feel like both teams know that, and it's going to put some pressure on their shoulders. But I still think the Eagles might come out on top today.
Yeah, I'd agree with Kylan. I feel like the Eagles can go on top for today. It's a really close game. It'll be good, but I feel like the Eagles can come on top today.
Well, are they on the red turf today, Carlos?
They are on the red turf today.
I can't go against Eastern Washington on that red turf. There's something about that team when they play big games on that red turf. Something gets going in that team. So I'll have Eastern Washington here today.
Arguably what's going to be the game of the day, and I'm surprised College Game Day's not there today. North Dakota State, the Bison, undefeated, one of 3 undefeated teams left. Us and Sam Houston, them and the Princeton Tigers out of the Ivy League. They are in Brookings today, taking on South Dakota State, their rival, who is 6-2. And right now for South Dakota State, they're fighting to get a seat for a team that is, a runner-up in the FCS championship in the spring, playing against the rivals. South Dakota State's favored today, but who do you got, Bison or those Jackrabbits?
That is going to be a tough one, and like you said, I'm surprised College Game Day's not there either. But I'm going to have to go with South Dakota State, just because they gave a really good fight in the FCS playoffs, and I'd like to see them, go for another run this year.
Yeah, I got to go South Dakota State. I got to go with the Jackrabbits today. I feel like they got something to prove against an undefeated team today, and I feel like they can make it through.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with the both of you there. If they're fighting for that spot, they're going to take it, and they're not going to let anyone, take that away from them. They're going to bring that fire. So, wrapping up around here today, we're going to be talking about just like how to listen on our game today. But Carlos, before we get into that, we'll throw it to you here about anything else that you have to say.
Well, we've got the game at hand today, fellas. I know it's really, and lady, apologies, but it's going to be a very lopsided one. I can say that because I'm not actually calling it today for once, but Dixie State, Sam Houston. Sam Houston owns the longest active winning streak in all of Division I football. They just set the record for most wins in a calendar year last week with a win over Tarleton. What you got, Collin? Dixie State, Sam Houston?
I'm going to have to go with the Bearcats here today. Dixie State, and we've talked about it, they keep hitting that wall of good ranked teams. It'll be a little bit of a fight, but Sam Houston will come out on top. And I'd like to mention getting that recognition on College Game Day last week was really, really cool.
Absolutely.
I got to go with the Bearcats today. I mean, they're facing a really, really young team in Dixie State, but, I mean, the Bearcats, they're national championships. They got so much experience, and I feel like second string will probably be out there in the second half.
Yeah, with Dixie State, being 0-8 and the Bearcats being roughly 8-0, this game, I feel like a lot of people are, they're predicting a win for the Bearcats, and I'm going for the Bearcats today, but I don't think that, as Collin stated earlier, that this game will be as easy as the Bearcats think they are, because as we stated, Dixie State's record doesn't benefit how they play. If you've ever watched Dixie State, you know that they're a hard team. They're fast. They get their job done. But, for some reason, they just fall short, at the end of every turn. So I really think that the Bearcats will come up on top, but it won't be an easy game as people think. But with that being said, we'll be wrapping up our show here today and telling you guys on how to listen to the game here at hand today at Sam Houston State being home. You can listen here on ESPN. You can also listen here on 90.5 The Cat, KSHU, and then you can also listen at 101.7 KSAM for the game. If you want to listen, if you're not here today, watch it. You can get all those channels. You can get everything you want to listen to the game today if you want to tune in. So with that being said, I'm Kylan. We have Carlos, Christian, and Collin today that talked to you today for the Bearkat Countdown. With that being said, thank you all for watching today, and go Bearcats.
Eat 'em up, Cats!
Eat 'em up.